News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Chris Crock Show. And our number is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Did you get stuck in traffic for 3 hours because Joe Biden was here? Is here? My understanding is he's at one of the hotels as the crow flies from here, probably 8 blocks. Between 7 and 12 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. So I wouldn't go anywhere near there because you won't get anywhere near there, and you'll be stuck in insane traffic probably too. We're going to talk about that. Has he affected your commute today? Did he make your life a misery on the roads? We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But the first thing I want to do is start out by talking about SB 4, the fantastic bill that our great state of Texas passed and our governor signed into law, and it takes effect as of yesterday for about an hour or two. So as you probably heard by now, the law went from being put on hold pending the review of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Then it went to the Supreme Court where they said, you know what, you guys can, state of Texas, you can actually enforce it while you're waiting for your appeal, which told me, and it's funny because Governor Abbott told CBS 11 the same thing that I said last night. Obviously, Governor Abbott, from my understanding, definitely has a law degree. He was our Attorney General, I believe, and our Solicitor General, I think. I'm adding one or two things in there, but he said what I said last night. Today, he said to CBS 11. He said that it's a very good sign that the Supreme Court said, yeah, go ahead and enforce the law while you're waiting for your appeals. That told him that those 6 think it's constitutional, and I think that's a great thing. So I think we have a good chance, and he thinks so too, based on that, and I don't think he's just blowing smoke up our rumps to say that for the interview on NBC4 with, CBS 11 with Jack Fink. But that's one thing. Another thing is, one of our listeners yesterday said that once the defendants are in custody, he said he heard on our station that once they're in custody on illegal entry charges under SB 4, they can agree to a judge's order to leave the U.S. or face prosecution. That is accurate. Our listener was right. So this specific thing was mentioned finally in one of the stories today, as it was yesterday on our station here from our news department. Once defendants are in custody on illegal entry charges, they can agree to a judge's order to leave the U.S. or face prosecution. So that's it. Leave or you will be prosecuted. If you're prosecuted and we throw your butt out, if you come back in illegally, it's a felony. Now you're going to jail for a state jail felony, which is fantastic. Muy fantástico. Of course, 3/4 to half the people coming on don't even speak Espanol, por favor. But Mexico's Foreign Affairs Secretary said that they would refuse to take anyone back who is ordered to cross the border. Mexico, quote, Mexico reiterates the legitimate right to protect the rights of its nationals in the United States and to determine its own policies regarding entry into its own territory. Whoa! Dude, you let all these people in. We're just giving them back to you. You let them in. You let them come all the way up, and you let them come over our border. We're going back to you. You take care of them. You brought them through. Well, we don't want them now that we dumped them on you. Get out of here. So that's number one. Also, I want to tell you our law is inspiring other states, and that is Iowa. The House gave final approval in the State House of Iowa, gave a final approval to do the exact same law we have in Texas. God bless Iowa, and Governor Kim Reynolds is slated to sign it for right now, and if she signs it, it'll take effect in July. Yes! 2 states down. What did I tell you yesterday? I said, you watch Florida follow us. You watch Ron DeSantis to follow us. Ron DeSantis is getting invaded right now by illegals coming in from Haiti. So he's got a massive operation they've begun there. I want to hear from you right now. I got a couple questions with you. Joe Biden's presidency, his DHS wants this invasion. It's part of the whole plan. They've wanted it since day one. That's why they stripped the 92 executive orders from Trump out. So they're trying to stop this because they don't want the illegals to be put back on the other side. He wants them all here for future Democrat Biden voters. But they're not going to cooperate with us either. And so my question for you, I have two questions. At 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, are you okay with Texas enforcing this law? Obviously, we're on hold again, but once it is put back on, hopefully. Are you okay with Texas enforcing this law and deporting illegals, even if the Mexican government and our own federal government won't cooperate with us? Are you okay with Texas enforcing this when the law is allowed to continue? Could be tomorrow morning, where we take them to the border, a port of entry, and say, you're out of here. And at that point, Mexico says they won't take them. Fine. I don't care if they won't cooperate. Bring them over there, hand them over to the Mexican authorities, and leave. They come back over, rearrest them. They've come back. Now it's a crime. Boom. If the federal government doesn't work with us, I don't care. By the way, you know who is with us? You know who is with us on this? The Border Patrol. The National Border Patrol Union, the National Border Patrol Council says this will make a positive impact, sharply curtailing the number of illegals coming in. Quote, people aren't going to want a criminal conviction on their record. When you have a criminal record, it makes it a whole lot more difficult to do that. Boom. So I say I don't care if the federal government, Joe Biden, will cooperate with us, and I don't care if Mexico cooperates with us. We take them over to the Mexican side. If they won't take them, we leave them right there next to them, and we leave. They come over, they're arrested. You stay over there. You don't like it? Stay in the middle of the bridge. You're out. You come back, you're arrested. Boom. I'm cool with it. What do you say to that? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. 3 lines open. Chime in right now. Belinda in Fort Worth, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Belinda.
Yeah, this is really encouraging news, but I hope that Governor Abbott's going to have the will to actually deport people. But if our borders are not secure, they're just going to come back over, like you said. And even though it's a criminal offense, our jails are going to fill up pretty dang quick.
I don't have a problem with that. And number two, I would expect Governor Abbott to honor his law by, if they have to put up mass prison camps for him, I don't care. How about you? Like a big tent, a humanitarian-style tent, but nonetheless a tent that'll hold them all. And it's a big holding pen with a nice roof and food, 2 hots in a cot, and you ain't going nowhere. You're going to serve your sentence.
It might discourage them, that's for sure.
Oh, then they'll have a conviction on their record as well. Because does it make sense? Like Mexico says, we won't take them back. No problem. We take them to your side right there to you. And obviously, they don't crossing the border because we can't take them on the other side in front of them. We hand them over to them. They say we don't want them. No problem. They're staying right here, sir. If you come back, you're under arrest. Bye. That's it.
Well, a lot of them come from other places in Mexico, but if Mexico wasn't letting them through, they wouldn't be here.
That's exactly right. So Mexico's like acting all outraged. You will not do this. You will not violate our borders. You let this happen to us. Screw you.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And what we need is another Trump in office. Hopefully, we'll have him in November. But that'll bring AMLO to his knees and say, "I'm going to put a tariff on everything you sell to us until you stop this." And then what does it do? It brings them to their knees and go, "Okay, sir. Okay, we're so sorry." So are you okay with us enforcing this law, even if the government of Mexico and our government won't cooperate with us? And do you support charging these illegals with a crime so it's on their record that they come back again, they'd be charged with a felony? Are you okay with that too?
It's Governor Abbott's constitutional duty to do this. I don't know where they're getting off on saying that he's violating federal law. He's just doing what the federal law allows him to do, which is to protect our border. If the federal government won't do it, Texas has a constitutional right. He has the obligation, the duty to protect us. It's his right.
And that's exactly right. And that's why the law for Texas is novel, because it mirrors federal law. It doesn't contradict it. Appreciate your great call, Belinda. Thank you. Look forward to your next one. All right, we have 4 lines open. We got Larry coming up next out of Arlington, plus your call at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Are you okay with Texas enforcing SB 4 if we're allowed to begin it again, which it's like musical spin the wheel, and we may or may not be able to enforce it again tomorrow. But are you okay with Texas enforcing the law and deporting these illegals, even if the Mexican government and our federal government won't cooperate? And do you support charging these illegals with a crime so that if it's on their record, number one, and number two, if they come back over, it is a felony? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I want to tell you a little bit more coming up next. We got several other things I want to add in on this as well. We have another arrest of another violent illegal, this time in St. Louis, one of Joe's illegals. And I got a whole bunch more, too. The governor of Mexico saying more nasty things and why I think we should totally disregard it. That's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
We are a sanctuary city. We started being a sanctuary city back in 1980, which, of course, should have been changed a long time ago. So they bringing them in. You wonder where the money coming from? They taking it, the COVID fund that was here, that money. You talking about all the housing programs. So when people pay rents, all the rental programs, that money, all the programs that we have in the city of Chicago, they are bankrupting us. They are taking from all of these programs that we have, and they're taking the money and they're funding the migrants. Our taxpayers, we've already paid $32 million out of our taxes to house and take care of the migrants thus far. Now, we already know the only ones who qualify to become citizens in asylum here from the starts, if they were here after August, they don't even qualify. Period. But here we're going to be taking care of them for 5 to 7 years while there's paperwork floating on people's desk. And why? Send them home. Send them back. But Venezuela already said, we're not taking them back. So now,
I got a question for you. Who did you vote for?
First of all, wait, I have no problem with saying that I did vote for Biden because I was not voting. I did.
Okay,
but here it is.
Hold on.
Wait,
that was a question. Okay. You answered it, right?
Okay.
This migrant influx that we're dealing with right now, this is your fault.
Okay, well, let me say, hold on.
There you go. That's Chicago. There you go. Biden voters. Eat what you voted for. Enjoy. Stir, shake, and drink. Enjoy. I'm so grateful we're sending them all there, aren't you? There and other places. All right, we have 3 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. One more illegal migrant that Joe brought in O'Fallon, Missouri, suburb of St. Louis, charged with stabbing 2 men at a laundromat. Approached his neighbor, started an argument that stemmed from a dispute between the two the day before. When the victim walked toward the laundromat's front door with his back turned, the man punched him in the head. Man swung his arm around at the illegal to avoid a fight, ran out the front doors. That's when Joe's illegal went after him into the laundromat parking lot, stabbed him in the back. Victim's brother tried to intervene, and help was stabbed in the back as well. Other people who were with the illegal got into his car and drove off. So that's it. And they arrested this man, and he has a hold on him. Let's see. It's all captured on video, and Department of Homeland Security issued a detainer for him because he's an illegal who entered in Eagle Pass, Texas, 2021. Joe Biden! They're raping our kids. They're raping our women. They're murdering our daughters at college. And they're doing home invasions and murder and kidnapping in Miami. All over. They're raping 14-year-old girls in Virginia. In Boston, they're raping not only 14-year-old girls, but also sexually assaulting a disabled adult in Boston. And the list goes on and on and on. Joe, you have done a number on us, and gosh, do we love you. Biden 2024, we need more of this. Okay, the question for you on our law that has been put on hold again while the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals hears different arguments on whether or not they should allow us to continue with this law that the Supreme Court said we could do for a few hours. Then the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals again put the hold on it while they're pending hearings. There were hearings today, but no decision yet. Are you okay with Texas enforcing this law and deporting illegals, even if the Mexican government and our own federal government won't cooperate with us? And do you support charging the illegals with a crime so that it's on their record? And if they come back in again, they'll be charged with a felony. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Daniel in Dallas, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. And I just wanted to say that, first and foremost, we are a nation of laws. And if we can get away with breaking the law, why should illegals get away with breaking the law? So, my thing is Americans need to put Americans first. We don't know who's crossing the border. We don't know, the drugs that they're bringing over, the people that they're bringing over. And they're pretty much different than how we are over here. And I just don't understand why is it even a question? Should we enforce the law against these migrants that's coming over here in our country? It's just disobeying the police, the laws, and everything. So
I agree, but I don't call them migrants because that implies that they're here like on a sojourn that's somehow righteous. They're illegal immigrants to me. But nonetheless, I agree with you 110%. They're taking everything that we have entitled to us, and now they're firing people en masse over at what's it called? What's that? Tyson Foods, and they want to hire 42,000 illegals out of New York and stuff. So it's a slave class that's being imported, and everything's going to them, and every one of them needs to go. Do you agree with that?
I agree 100%.
So do you support Trump this fall so that he can deport as many of these illegals across this country as possible?
Yes, I supported him 2020 and also 2016.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate. Oh, by the way, do you agree with me that we should still arrest him and take him to the other side, to Mexico at the port of entry? And even if Mexico won't take him, leave him right there, knowing that if they come over the bridge again, we're going to arrest him and charge him with a felony this time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we should abide by the same laws that Americans have to abide by. So if they come over here, yes, we should know who's coming over here in our country. We shouldn't allow them to come over here and commit the same crime over and over and again, and then just give them a chance to come back to do the same thing. No, we need to keep them.
Amen. Daniel, I appreciate your call, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Larry in Arlington, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
My thing is this is insanity. This is crazy.
What's crazy, the Texas law or this invasion or what? Larry, are you there? Larry, hello? Hello? We lost him. Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I would assume he means the invasion. You know what's funny, though, about the law? A lot of these people who are against it are saying, well, this is confusing and this is chaotic. Well, you know what's chaotic? An invasion of 12 to 15 million illegals in 3.5 years. That's chaotic. That's what's divisive. That's what's tearing us apart. That's what's unlawful. So absolutely do it and go full force. Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number. Also coming up next, I want to get into Joe Biden's visit. Did you see stuff today with Joe Biden's visit? Did you experience stuff? Were you stuck in traffic for 2 hours? We'll do a little more on the illegals. Then we're going to get into the Joe Biden visit today. He's staying overnight downtown, not too far from where we are right now. So did you experience this? Did you get stuck in the traffic, the chaos? All that next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Sí, por favor, yo me quiero ir a mi casa con mi papá. Me dejaron desde esos cerros, tuve que atravesar desde allá para acá buscar en el rancho ayuda.
¿Dónde estás? ¿Se fueron?
Se fueron, me abandonaron, ya no pude seguir caminando. Sí.
That is an illegal from Mexico who was ditched by the cartels in the middle of nowhere, no man's land, Texas, where he was going to die most likely, is what the reporters said on that one. That was on the Daily Mail. It was also through, I can't remember that network, News Nation. Anyway, so let's go to the question we're asking about with this is: are you okay with Texas enforcing this law when we're allowed to, which could happen again tonight or tomorrow for all we know? SB 4. Are you okay with Texas enforcing this law and deporting illegals, even if the Mexican government and our federal government won't cooperate with us? Secondarily, do you support charging the illegals with a crime so that it's on their record, and if they come back again, it could mean a felony? I agree with both of them, and if we put them on the other side of the border, or at least hand them to Mexican authorities, even though if they won't take them at the port of entry, if they come back over the border, the bridge onto our side, they'll be arrested again by Texas if they don't go in the immediate custody of Border Patrol. So I think it's a win-win. So I'm still for it, and I want to continue on with it. Arrests for illegal crossings fell by half in January from a record high of 250,000 in December, with the sharp declines in Texas. Arrests at the Border Patrol's Del Rio sector, the focus of Abbott's enforcement, fell 76% from December. RGV, the busiest corridor for illegal crossings for much of the last decade, recorded its fewest arrests since June 2020. Why? It's working! It's working. They're getting the message. And what I told you last night is what we're hearing on the news this afternoon, that Arizona, New Mexico, and California are preparing for massive surges. Go dump them over there. Yes. Concentrate on more and more. The narrower the lane, the bigger the swath, the better the video to show this insane invasion. Jonathan, you've called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. On News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make that a preset. Hey, Jonathan, in Denton.
Yes, hello. What you were saying earlier, I agree with both, that Texas should be allowed to enforce it and that we should be able to send them back over and leave them there if the Mexican government won't take them 100%.
We can't leave them over there because they won't let us cross the border with them, and we obviously don't want to go across their border. But to me, we can go to the bridge, the international bridge, the port of entry there, and we can take them to the Mexican entrance, or that obviously on our side of the on the international part where it's in the middle of the bridge, and then you go to the Mexican side. I don't know exactly how it looks there, but obviously one side's the U.S., the other side's Mexico. I would just take them to right there at the gate, and whether Mexico wants to take them or not is irrelevant. You leave them there. Okay, you come back over there. You see over there. You come back over there. You're under arrest, right?
Yeah, 100%. And being in the military, I mean, I'm retired from the military now. We have the manpower to do it, especially in the National Guard here. Living in the tents and getting the cot and the 2 meals or the 3 meals is 100% acceptable because we have to do that when we're deployed.
You're saying if they come back over again, if we arrest them, and there's one of our listeners who agrees with this, but also said, what about how are we going to put all these people in prison? I said, let's get a big, huge, massive tent, make camps for them to await their trial or detention in a big tent. I think Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, the former chef of Arizona, what was that? What county is that? I forget. It'll come to me in a second, but he did that, so I don't think it's a problem.
It's not at all. I mean, if we can do it without air conditioning, they can do it. It's not unhuman or anything like that. They're choosing to do this illegal. They have to pay for the consequences.
If you make it uncomfortable and then humane but uncomfortable, then there's what they do is they get here on their, as we all know, they've done this for a couple of years, 3 years now. They get here and they're on their cell phones. They tell their friends and their family, come over. It's great. I'm over. I'm here in New York now. I'm in Chicago. It took me a few days. It's great. It sucks to get up here, but once you're up here, you're set.
Yeah, 100%. And then we can just leave them on the bridge. I mean, especially if we have military guys on our side, they're not going to come back over because they're going to be like, well, I'm just going to get caught again. And
if they get caught again, it's a felony. Because they have the choice to either they have the choice to either you can either I'll read it again how this works. They have a choice. They can either be arrested and charged and booked on that, or they can agree to go back and on the other side not to come back.
Yes, and I think the ones that are already here in Texas that have been living here, we should have checkpoints. It's very doable. They have them all over El Paso for sure because I went through 5 of them.
I remember those. I remember driving along the border to go to where were we going? I think we went on to Arizona. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there was the Fort Bliss. You're not allowed if you're a soldier there. You're not allowed to go into Juarez. So it's very. So there's multiple checkpoints to make sure that we don't go through, so we can have them, and because it's all ran by National Guard. We got plenty of guys. We have the biggest National Guard in the country.
Now, here's the thing. You have to, the way they're saying this under this law is you have to have visual of them coming across the border illegally in between the ports of entry, not at the ports of entry. That's what this is for. And 254 counties are authorized to enforce this. You have most sheriffs and most chiefs in our state are saying, we're not going to do this. The ones on, like Maverick County says he'll do it. I saw that this morning. But Sheriff Bill Wayburn supports it, and he wrote a letter of support to Governor Abbott in this, and Sheriff Bill Wayburn, of course, for Tarrant County Sheriff. So there are sheriffs that are supporting this, but as far as checkpoints, if it's by the border, I think that's good. If it's up further up in the, you're talking about by the border though, right?
Yes, I'm talking about by the border.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know how you distinguish. I guess you have to say, can you prove that you've been here?
You just show ID.
Yeah, that's right. Show your ID, and they're not going to have any.
Yeah, exactly.
They're throwing their ID away at the border when they're crossing over. Like a lot of them, we're seeing, like most of them.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, if you can't prove identification, then you get put in holding, and if you're found that you're illegal, we put you on the bridge.
Yeah,
and give you those options.
I appreciate. You know what's great? Kim Reynolds and the Iowa House, they passed it through. She'll sign it into law most likely, and then it'll take effect in July in Iowa. And I would look for Florida to do this soon, and I think this is a great move to be replicated. I appreciate your call, Jonathan. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Okay, Joe Biden is in town, whether you like him or not. He's our president, whether we like it or not. I certainly don't like it, but nonetheless. He is at one of the hotels in downtown, not far from us at all. I know exactly where he's at. And so I can see him with his CPAP machine going to bed at 9 o'clock with his jams on. And I can see all that. So I don't know if you were caught up in the traffic, but if you were at all, if you had to deal with traffic or you saw some of the motorcade and there was some stuff you noticed that was interesting, or at least particularly if you were stuck in traffic and had a miserable commute because of Joe Biden's presence in DFW, I'd love to hear from you at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. It is something to behold, a presidential motorcade, is my understanding, and it sure looks like it's something to behold when you see it on TV and such. But I've seen a motorcade come up. By the way, I want to hear from you right now, though, if you have seen anything or experienced anything with the motorcade today, or if you didn't with this motorcade with President Biden, if you've experienced or been through difficult times with other motorcades from other presidents, like former President Hussein Obama. One of my colleagues was telling me that what normally took him 20 minutes on his commute, turned his 20-minute commute into 2 hours because of former President Hussein Obama's motorcade blocking traffic. And, also you apparently lose all your cell phone coverage. That goes bye-bye. And you're sitting there for a long, long, long time, and there's nothing you can do about it. It is the worst thing. A lot of people get rage over it, and I specifically chose to not go anywhere near the Dallas North Tollway today because of that. My little app said to go through the Dallas North Tollway, and I chose not to. Nope, I didn't do it. I went the other way because I don't want to get caught in traffic for 2 hours. I even left an hour earlier than I normally leave. And I thankfully didn't see anything. But what did you see? Did you get caught up in traffic? Was it hell? What has your experience been with this motorcade or other presidential-type motorcades that you've seen? I'll tell you about what I saw once going through, going up the Dallas North Tollway one time with the motorcade. That's all coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. After that, EV mandates that are shoved through that take effect now from Joe Biden. You're not going to like them. That's next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Were you stuck in the motorcade today? How about you, Producer Gary? What time did you come in at? Okay. And you're coming, you left around 6:40. You're coming in from Tarrant. What do you do, 30? 45? But what do you do, 30? I-30? Yeah. Okay, so he does I-30, which would be the president was in Preston Hollow and one other place, I forget. It might just be Preston Hollow, and then at the hotel he's at, which I mean it might be open source that he that's at the hotel, but I won't say it since I didn't see it. Just I don't know. But nonetheless, as I said, it's about 8 to 12 blocks from here, maybe a few extra blocks that I'm counting. But I'm glad that we're not near there. I'm glad we're on the other side of Woodall Rogers. Thank you very much. We're on the cool side. Although my church is on my church is on the other side, so it's hard to say. That's the saintly side, except for that little block where Joe Biden is. That's an abortionist dream there, where he's at. Nonetheless, I don't know if you dealt with his motorcade. I saw actually, I was talking to one of my great colleagues here at WBAP, and she said touchdown was at 5:20 p.m. at Love Field, and then, of course, straight to Preston Hollow, which would be the Dallas North Tollway, which I purposely avoided because I wasn't going to deal with anything. I think I mentioned in the last segment, one of my colleagues says that last year his 20-minute commute, when before Trump, it was President Hussein Obama was here, and he delayed his 20-minute commute by 2 hours. It was 2 hours. So I'm glad my friend tweeted that out to all of us, my colleague, because I intentionally stayed way away from that stuff, and I'm glad I did. So, and the good news is Biden will be asleep, probably asleep by now. He usually has his pajamas on underneath his suit, so he'll just take the suit off and go right to bed. So he probably is sleeping by now, nestled. So if you're in downtown Dallas, please be quiet. Don't wake this old man up. He needs to sleep. Now, speaking of Joe Biden, he is announcing today his EPA is announcing total crackdowns on cars like you and I have. I have 2 gas cars. I actually have 3 gas cars at my house. One's my son's, one's mine, and one's my wife's. Okay? They're all gas. They're not hybrids. I'm not averse to getting a hybrid, but I'm on the fence still. As of right now, from what I know, I don't want to go anywhere near I can tell you, no, that's not even let me rephrase that. There's no way in heck I will ever, ever, ever get an electric vehicle as of right now. No way. Not now, not in a year, not in 5 years, not in 10 years. Because it is, to me, a complete nightmare. First of all, you have to come up with a new battery in 5 to 8 years or something like that, depending on what kind of car you have and what's going on. Third of all, you're going to lose 40% or more of your power when it's really hot out, which it gets hot in Texas a lot, or it's really cold out, which it gets cold in Texas enough to cause a problem with your charge. And then, of course, you have the problem with plugging in and where to go. I don't want one of these. I don't ever want one. They can shut it down. It's a boondoggle. Let me just read you some headlines. Hertz CEO out. CNN reported following electric car horror show. Remember all those EVs that Hertz got and we're going to replace our whole fleet with all EVs? It ended in a horror show because nobody knows how to use them. Nobody wants them. They didn't know where to charge them. It was a nightmare. It was a disgrace, and it ruined everything. Many people... Well, like for me personally, what I've learned is if when I rent a car again, I'm going to demand no electric vehicle. I will not take the car. There will be no electric vehicle, period. So that was a horror show. Losing billions a year, California car company Rivian lays off hundreds. Fisker also is pausing their production right now and looking to raise, I think, $150 million or something, they said. So... here's a headline. I'll give you more details coming up next. As electric vehicle shoppers hesitate, hybrid sales surge. I'll give you more details on that, as I said, next. But look at this. They're literally saying, as of today, Joe Biden's administration announcing they're going to tackle the climate crisis, quote unquote, by foisting EPA regulations on us that will force us to have all EVs, by about 2023. Excuse me. 2032. And I'll read some of the quotations here. Automakers will be compelled to increase production and sales of EVs, plug-in hybrids, traditional hybrids, and fuel cell vehicles under one low-cost, quote-unquote, model EPA outlined in the rule. Automakers will be forced to ensure that 56% of light-duty car sales are battery electric and another 13% hybrid. Under the rule, 67% of new vehicle sales will be battery electric by 2032. But after lengthy public comment period, meetings with automakers and labor groups. They scaled it down 3 years ago, and half of all new cars and trucks sold have to be zero emission by 2030. There's no such thing as zero emission. It's completely fueled by electricity, which comes from fossil fuel overwhelmingly. All right, so here's my questions for you. Are you ready for an electric car? Joe Biden wants you to get one by 2032, and he's going to compel, which means force, auto manufacturers to make EVs more and more and more, and nobody wants it. Well, most everybody doesn't want them, at least right now. Are you ready for an electric car right now? Will you be buying one before Biden's mandate or after Biden's mandate? And would you buy a hybrid? Are you still into gas-powered cars only? As of right now, I'm a gas-powered only guy. I'm open to talking about hybrids. But I don't know. I think there's some drawbacks. I don't know for sure. Talk to me. Are you ready for an EV? Are you okay if Biden forces you to get into one supposedly by 2032? Do you think car manufacturers should be forced into this? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'll give you some more details on how electric vehicle shoppers are staying away, saying no. Your call, too. Are you ready for an EV? Joe says you're ready. Get one soon. Next.